Welcome to off-season week number 2 of the weekend wrap-up. Yeah, we're getting a new name. The preview show is kind of just a regular season thing. I'm Casey Campbell, and of course, that's Nathan Solomon from the Podium Finish. How's it going, man?
Doing well. How are you?
Doing well. Okay, let's talk about that big news story that just broke. Guess what's back? Practice and qualifying. Of course, NASCAR released their 2022 practice and qualifying format, and it's quite interesting, Nathan.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot to unpack here, and I mean, I gotta make sure I have all my facts straight, of course. But basically, there's gonna be two groups for most races.
Yeah.
And with either 15 or 20-minute practice session, excuse me, the 20 minutes will be at road courses, 15 at all of the tracks, except there's a select few tracks that will have what they're going to call an extended race weekend.
Yeah.
Which will be, I believe it'll be Daytona, of course.
Yeah.
Atlanta, Bristol Dirt, Gateway, Nashville, then championship weekend in Phoenix. So that's for Cup. It's a little different for extended. There's 5 extended weekends there. Portland will be one of them. For trucks, they're gonna have 8 extended weekends, I believe.
Yeah.
They're gonna have a lot of practice and qualifying. I think that's a good thing, just because of the inexperience level there, just to get everybody a little bit more used to the trucks and everything. So
plus, there's a lot of tracks on the schedule.
Absolutely, and of course Atlanta. I'm glad that Atlanta, with a new reconfiguration, I'm glad that they'll have an extended weekend. But yeah, they're going to break groups up based on odd and even finishing numbers from the previous race. Group A will have a 15-minute practice session, or 20 in their case, the road courses. And then Group B will have a 15-minute practice session. And then qualifying, Group A will qualify single lap, I believe, except for road courses, which will be group qualifying. And then Group B will do single lap. And then the top 5 in each group will kind of go together. So that's for the 10 cars. We'll do like we'll do one more single lap run to figure out the pole position. So it's interesting. I kind of like it. I wish the practice sessions were a little bit longer. I would have been in favor of like a 150-minute practice session. But I think with the next gen car and everything, just to help lower budget teams, it'll be a good thing to save some costs and hope that when guys are practicing, they can kind of just get more open space on the track. They're not going to have to worry about traffic, just, trying to get used to the car, used to the track, and they won't tear their stuff up in practice. So I like it, though. I think it could work, and I hope it will work.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of the next gen car, of course, they tested the next gen car the last 2 days on Wednesday and Thursday at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Had to get used to a few changes with that. Of course, they did some pit stops as well. But yeah, I had to get used to some of the people in the new fire suits. Like, I don't know if you saw this, but Ross Chastain doesn't have a beard. Harrison Burton's in the new Wood Brothers thread, has that Ford logo after driving a Toyota for so many years. Kurt Busch is in a Toyota for again. Yeah, a lot of changes, but overall, what did you think about this the next gen testing?
It seemed, obviously, I wasn't there, so it's hard to get a full grip of it, but it seemed like everything went pretty well. 2 long sessions. Cars got a lot of time on the track. Teams got a lot of data that they can learn from and analyze here over these next few weeks leading up to the Phoenix test in December. I think it was good, though. Obviously, one of the more talked about things is the speed of the cars. They're slower than. Significantly slower than the Gen 6. I mean, they started off running 32s on Wednesday around Charlotte, when the Cup guys last year, or with the Gen 6 rather, were around a 28. So that's a 4-second difference. And I think everybody wants the cars to go a little bit faster, NASCAR included. So they're trying some things. They shaved an inch off the spoiler on Thursday, and that kind of caught off about a second a lap, and that was about the equivalent of adding about 30 horsepower. So remember, the next year they're going to stick with 550 horsepower. As of right now, they're planning to stick with 550 horsepower on these, I guess, intermediates and on these larger ovals rather. So, and they're going to be at, I believe, as of right now 670 horsepower on the shorter tracks, if that's the correct number. But they haven't really had a group test yet on any of those shorter tracks, so they'll have one coming up in December at Phoenix. They'll be able to collect a lot of information there, look at lap times, and all that. And then another thing, of course, was the heating. There's obviously issues with drivers being extremely hot in the cars. There's a lot of, I guess, exhaust being pushed in, and temperatures of over 150 degrees, when usually the hottest in the Gen 6 we'd see is about 140. So that's obviously a concern. They're trying a lot of different things, different ventilation, cutting, slits in the back, in the back window, and a bunch of different things that they were trying. Plexiglass, moving the exhaust, shortening the exhaust, and they seem to they're finding strategies, I guess, to eliminate some of the heat, but right now it's just figuring out which is the best strategy for it. And then my last point here is, it's, even though the cars are a little bit slow right now, there's still a handful to drive. I mean, we saw a bunch of spins, and we saw Austin Dillon. I mean, he wrecked, very early on Wednesday, and of course you never want to see a car wreck, but it just shows how hard they are to drive. And I think Dillon proved that. And again, it sucks that the car got torn up, but hey, they're actually able to fix it that day. They're able to get it back on the track. And according to NASCAR, all safety measures held up, and Dillon was obviously fine. So I think that was the first real major crash that people were able to kind of witness in a more public environment for the next gen car. So I think hopefully that'll kind of assure people a little bit more about the safety of it.
Yeah, we'll have to see how that really goes. I know there's going to be some more next gen testing coming up. I think they're going to be at Phoenix doing some stuff, and then not too sure on what that is, but I know there's going to be more next gen testing coming up.
Yep, Phoenix. They have an open test that they're going to do at Vegas that they have not scheduled yet, but they're going to do, and then Daytona, as well as a couple of Goodyear tire tests, including at a dirt test at with Stuart Friesen.
Yeah, for sure. There's been a lot of news this week as well, in terms of a lot of crew chief news and all that. Of course, it was announced 2311 announced their crew chief lineup. Booty Barker will remain with the 23, and I know that Kurt Busch said that he'd have someone said that they have someone familiar. Yeah, Billy Scott's going to return as a crew chief. He'll be with Kurt Busch and the 45 team. With that, it's going to be an interesting crew chief lineup. Plus, Dave Rogers also joins the organization as well.
Yeah, I mean, I like what 2311 is doing. I mean, I think, what was it, only 7 races that Booty Barker was with Bubba this year, but obviously it worked. They won a race. They seemed to be clicking pretty well, and Bubba kind of had a couple crashes there later in the season, so some DNS. But yeah, I mean, I think they definitely seem to have a little bit more speed under Booty Barker, and that's nothing against Mike Wheeler. I think he's a very good crew chief, but he's kind of stepping into that role, of course, as competition director. And then Billy Scott, Kurt Busch, they obviously have that relationship before. There's not going to be much of a period of just trying to feel each other out and I guess get communication down, because they already have that from their time at Stewart Haas. So I like the two combinations for 2311, and I think both will win races next year.
Yeah. Also, the other big news of the week was a team went through a official rebranding. Yes, of course, I'm talking about Roush Fenway Racing, which is now known as Roush Fenway Keselowski Racing, or RFK for short. So it's official. New team, new kind of logo, new kind of car. The 6 design's a little different. Got that chrome numbers in there. You like it, bud?
I do like it. I mean, I think it's gonna be a process for Roush Fenway Keselowski Racing. I gotta get used to saying that. Yeah. But obviously there's I know it's a new car, but their speed's not been where that organization has wanted it to be these last 2 seasons, and I think that Keselowski is obviously going to bring a lot there and get their speed back and to be a championship caliber, championship contending organization, and maybe in the Cup Series and maybe down the road back in the Xfinity Series and maybe in the Truck Series, of course. Keselowski was a very successful truck owner there for a few seasons. So yeah, it's just gonna be it's just gonna take time. I think Keselowski can go to the playoffs next year. I'm not sure if you're gonna have necessarily a playoff speed, but just Keselowski's so skilled of a driver. I think they can get him there. He might be able to win Talladega or something, a place that he's just so good at. So 3-4 years, I think that team's gonna be in really great shape. In terms of Keselowski, though, a lot of sponsorship stuff still to come. They announced the other day that none of his sponsors from Team Penske are coming over with him. So that's 36 races he's got to fill right there. More than 36 races if we're going to include the Clash and the All-Star race and all that. So definitely more news to come from that organization.
Yeah, of course. You know that when they make an announcement, they tend to always go big, like they always do. So we'll have to see on that to happen there. Hey, guess what? We got to talk about some charters. 2311, back to them, confirmed that they received the charter from Starcom Racing. As with these charters and stuff there, of course, thought it was originally going to go to Spire, but Spire did get some stuff from Starcom, got some of the equipment from them. But yeah, 2311 has a charter for the 45, which begs the question. I know Spire's looking for a second charter. I know GMS is looking for a second charter. What's that going to, how do you see this charter market playing out?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I think that regardless of what happens in terms of those teams getting a charter, especially for GMS, I think that they're going to run they're going to run 2 cars anyway. So, or I just said 2 cars. They're going to run a car anyway. That's what I meant to say.
Yeah.
My apologies. They're gonna run a car anyway, whether it's an open car, whether it's a chartered car. Sorry, no coffee today. Took a day off, so I'm a little drowsy today. But yeah. They're gonna run a car anyway. Obviously, charters are really expensive. I think that it sounds like GMS, they've obviously been in negotiations. When Mike Beam talked at Charlotte, it seemed that they're getting pretty close to getting a charter. So we'll just have to see what happens there. I think that there's a chance that they could likely secure one, but regardless, I think they'll run a car anyway.
Yeah, it looks like from what I've been told, it looks like they're after the Petty Ware charter.
Yep.
I know that also it's been out there that it could be that I know that Andrew Murstein with his stake in the team could also change.
Yeah, and I think I think that the Ware or Petty charters are the most likely options. I mean, Rick Ware, they've announced that they're going to downsize. They're not going to run 4 cars next year. With the next gen, obviously it costs more, and with their new alliances, they're going to have more quality over quantity. And then, of course, the Petty Ware charter, nobody really knows what's happening there. Ware ran 4 cars this past season, one of which was from the Richard Petty Racing charter. So that's the big question. I'm not sure if Richard Petty wants to run 2 cars, but we'll just have to see if they lease it somewhere, if they sell it, if they do actually run 2 cars. There's a lot of things they could do with it.
Yeah, there's a lot of things and a lot of details on that. I know that the Petty Ware charter could be the charter that heads to GMS, and then I don't know, but that's I know Bob Pocker said something about that as well, and it was also, that's kind of how it was explained when I was talking to some people. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see how all that ends up. More crew chief news. Back to RFK. Yeah, we're going all over the board here. They also confirmed Scott Graves will be the crew chief for Chris Buescher. Of course, he was the crew chief for the latter half of the season. Also, GMS, kind of talking about that. Jerame Donnelly will be the crew chief for Ty Dillon. Of course, spent so many years as an engineer for Chip Ganassi Racing. A lot of CGR employees going all over the place here. Some are going to Roush Fenway. Some are going there and talking about that. And I mentioned Dave Rogers is joining 2311 as somewhat of a performance director. That also kind of split into news that Joe Gibbs Racing is downsizing to 3 cars in the Xfinity series with theirs. So it looks like they'll still be a predominant team, but they'll still be running 3 cars as well. Speaking of JGR, a different JGR team, Joey Gase is starting his own team in the Xfinity Series. He'll be driving the number 35, so exciting there. And also, I think I'm going to be talking to Joey Gase sometime next week after Thanksgiving, so stay tuned for that. And speaking of interviews, go out into my channel. We talked with Ryan Ellis about Alpha Prime Racing, and they announced something. They announced something this week. Tommy Joe Martins told my good friend Michael Carey of TobyChristie.com that that a second car might be running part-time. So more Xfinity Series cars, it looks like.
I like it. I mean, it's the best series we've got. I mean, the best racing, the best package, the balance between, I guess, being aggressive but not overly aggressive. And I mean, every race this year in the Xfinity Series was just a thriller. So I can't wait to watch the Xfinity Series next year and be in that Xfinity Series garage.
Yeah, that'll be fun stuff there. I know you're going to be on the road at some of these races. I know I will as well.
Yep, 5 to 7 races are planned for me next season.
Yeah, there's also going to be more announcements. I can't tell you what it is, but there is going to be something else today regarding schedules, but we'll get to that later. Also, it was announced this week Josh Williams will not return to DGM Racing, not known where he will go, but I think he does know where that is going to be happening. And something we didn't talk about, something that happened last week, didn't talk about this week. Jeremy Clements has full season sponsorship with that 51. I know Steve Carnes has been working pretty hard to trying to get that 51 car up there. So yeah, good to see Jeremy Clements up there working on a Jeremy Clements interview, but hopefully he'll get on the channel. And also I'll be uploading my interview with 2021 Funny Car Champion Ron Capps today. So that will be fun. Always good to talk to Ron. We talked some Monday Night League racing. Of course, he's a big part of that. And of course, we are trying. I gotta message. I gotta get this guy back on. Hopefully, we can hear from Ford Martin. He always a good dude to have on. Ford's a good friend of mine, so good to see that there. But okay, what's coming up on TPF this next week?
I can't say too much yet. We'll of course have we'll have a guest on in our hot seat portion of TPF Live, airing Monday at noon on my school radio station WSPU 88.3 FM, as well as TuneIn Radio and on our website. And then of course the podcast version will be available on major streaming platforms a bit later. So yeah, we'll have a driver on, and we'll also have a special co-host on, but I won't. I'll just leave it at that for now.
Yeah, for sure. By the way, go check out Nathan's interview with Matt DiBenedetto from a few weeks ago too. That was pretty good. So
Appreciate it.
Yeah, go check up on that. Yeah, lots of fun stuff happening. Of course, I just made another announcement. Hey, you know those preview show picks? You know, we're gonna have more fun with that next year. We're gonna have a season-long championship format. You ready, bud?
Yeah, so how's this gonna work? Like, we pick someone, and then wherever they finish in the race, it's like how many points we get.
That's what it's looking like. So yeah, I mean, that's what it's looking like. So yeah, well, obviously I'll think of more details, but yeah, the 6 of us picked a bunch of drivers. Of course, Jonathan Fiel, Mitchell Brewer, RJ Starcevic, of course you, Marty Zakala picked last year. Taylor Kitchen and Harry Loomis will be added this year along with myself. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. I'm gonna be I don't know, but everyone's always getting competitive with all the everyone wants to beat everybody, and I know how competitive you are too. So, should be fun there. All right, that's gonna do it for another off-season edition of the Weekend Wrap-Up. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm gonna take some time off next week. Of course, happy Thanksgiving to all of you. We'll be back in the first week of December, and I don't know, we might do something. Who knows? I can just gotta find someone who's available that week, but who knows? Yeah, look, working on a few things. Got some driver recaps coming up next week. RJ Starcevic and I recorded some stuff, so those will debut all Thanksgiving weekend throughout the off season. So stay tuned for that. All right, have a good Thanksgiving there, Nathan.
Yeah, you too, man.